Welcome to FM Corner. I'm your host, Danny Koontz, from Windy City Equipment. I'm the Director of Relationship Management. Today, we're going to talk about a subject, listening to your trusted vendors. So if you're a facility manager, you have vendors that you trust to do your work in your locations every day. You trust them for a reason. So it makes really good sense that one of the things you ought to do is listen to those people about how to even make it better. You're going to listen to them for their quality of work. It's one of the reasons you pick them. Their dependability. Do they do what they say? Are they responsive? Do they show up when you have a need and you need help? Obviously, price usually matters in that too. They're giving you good value for what you're paying. All those top things are the reasons, or some of the reasons, that you pick this vendor. It makes sense to take time to listen to them when they have suggestions or advice that they want to pass on. Just makes sense. Does their advice benefit the company? Sometimes yes. Many times it sure benefits your department. It's a way of things that they see or observe when they're out in the field every day. Those folks typically, the vendors that you do business with, are in your buildings more than you are, especially since COVID. They're in your building. They see every day. And there's always many times of, this is how our restaurants operate. Ask the vendor sometimes, because all those things you think the restaurant may be doing, they may not. And they may not for different reasons. Maybe they don't know how. Maybe nobody ever taught them. Maybe they make mistakes every day that seems easy to you, but those aren't really happening in the restaurant. Your vendor can sit down with you and help you with some of those. And that will allow you the opportunity to fix them and make them better. The vendor hears things that the operations team tells them. Well, we really need the fryer on the other side of the grill. That would really help us. We'd pick up X number of steps and so on. A conversation a manager might have. That trusted vendor comes back and sits down with you as a facility person and says, hey, this is what one of your managers told me in one of the locations. And you start checking it out, and you go to the training team, and you look at it, and you go, they're right. Simply flipping this piece of equipment to one side or the other would make something faster. And you serve a lot of the same meals over and over. So every time you make it faster, multiply that by the number of times the number of days, and all of a sudden you've got time being saved. A lot more than you initially thought. The other thing that does is how wonderful it is for the general manager and the vendor. Because the general manager might not say that to his or her boss, but they said it to a vendor who took it somewhere else, and it actually worked out. That built the trusted bond between the vendor and the restaurant manager. That's a good thing too. That built trust. Many times somebody just looking at something from the outside could go, well, how come this is not this? And they can offer suggestions. They can help. Most vendors want to help you because, one, they want to be your longtime partner. They want to do work for you and your company for a long period of time. They're going to give you advice. They're going to give you suggestions. They don't always work, but they're going to give you ideas to think about because they're in there every day and they see, hear, and acknowledge what goes on in the restaurant every single day. Sit down with them and ask them, you remodeled all my restaurants. What are the 3 things you wish you could do differently? What are the things that you wish you didn't have to do? What caused you the most pain? And then you can open that up to the other side going, let me also talk to you as a facility manager to the vendor. Here's where I need your help. But how much better is that conversation when you start it with, tell me what I need to know to be better, what my restaurants need to do better, that would make your job easier, better. And then lead in with what you need from them after you started that conversation. How much more productive that meeting will be. Sometimes you just got to go out and look. A vendor may tell you, hey, here's what's going on. Go look. I did a story 4 or 5 years ago. A vendor was telling me every morning in this particular restaurant, the staff is hosing out the convection ovens. And we're getting calls every 2 or 3 weeks. They're on a full service program. They're getting calls every 2 to 3 weeks for water being in the controllers. Surely they're not doing that. Well, it kept going on and on. Well, I just got to go see it. So I went to the location very, very early in the morning. Just walked through the back door. They're indeed hosing out the convection ovens with a water hose. Well, now I immediately know where the water's coming from. Now, the manager has adamantly denied at least 3 times that doesn't happen. Typically, general managers are in the middle of the day to the night. General managers typically, lots of times, except for inventory, they're not there early in the morning. So they're asking another manager who's probably telling them the answer they want to hear, and they're in turn passing it along to me. Well, that's not true. They were doing it, so we stopped it. Go look. Go look. Every once in a while, your vendor's going to tell you something that you need to go see yourself so that you can address it. So sit across the table, talk to them, work on the items together, listen and evaluate what they say. Again, everything isn't right. Sometimes it'll be about what's better for them, what's not necessarily better for you as the company. And that's okay too. At least you're having conversation about it. But vendors that are trusted partners, and again, you picked them for a reason. They can be your eyes. They can be your ears. They listen and they see. And if you use that information in the proper way, you can't burn them, but you use it in the proper way, you can sure find out some ways to make your restaurants work better and provide better service for their customer at the same time. Use your trusted vendors. That's our story for today. Thank you very much for listening. Remember, at FM Corner, advice is always free. Thank you.